I used to work in a state institute for developmentally disabled. We were temporarily relocated to another building for remodeling of our building. I was working one night, second shift. We had a locked PK unit. I saw one of the residents walk down the hall, very distinct gait and very distinct yellow t-shirt with a happy face on it. I went into the ward to let the staff know that they had an escapee. This was a serious situation because this particular resident, Larry, would ingest absolutely anything. He was also very reluctant to go back to his home ward. Hence why I didn't bring him back myself. He needed 2 escorts. When we got back into the hall, less than 15 seconds later, Larry was gone. We searched the entire building, outside, downstairs, all wards. He was nowhere to be found. This whole search lasted less than 10 minutes because I had all extra staff looking for him. I was just about to call the house supervisor to let her know that we lost someone when out from the bathroom walks Larry with one of the staff. He had been getting his bath in the bathroom for the last 30 minutes or so. Kind of freaky, I absolutely without a doubt saw Larry in the hallway. I never would have short-staffed the wards like I did if I hadn't seen him. Like I said, very distinctive gait, look, clothing, etc. I took a lot of razzing that night. They all thought that I was crazy. Anyways, come to find out the next day after the story goes around that I'm crazy, Larry had an identical twin brother who died in that building 10 years previously. I was working with my regular 7 to 7 night shift in a bone marrow transplant unit with one other nurse. We had 5 patients and it was about 3:30 a.m. My co-worker had just come out of room 4 and I startled her as she came around the corner. She had been emptying a urinal when the bathroom door had closed on her, which of course freaked her out and she spilled urine on herself, but I digress. She proceeded to tell me that there was a young gentleman who had been in that room, who had died a rather gruesome death. Evidently, this man was slated to go home, but one night, around 4, the nurses heard a thump, the sound of someone falling. They rushed in the room and this man was in the bathroom, central line out and blood everywhere. They coded him, but he died right there in the bathroom. No one is sure why he pulled his line or what had happened, but evidently the scene was a bloodbath. Now here comes the scary part. A few weeks later, a sweet little old lady is in that room and asked the nurse if someone had died in there. The nurse explained that this is a hospital and it was likely that someone could have died. The lady says, "I think a young guy died in here." The nurse asks why. The lady responds, "'Cause he is talking to me." This lady has a central line, triple lumen. The nurse goes in there later and there is blood everywhere. One of her lines is cut, not pulled out, but cut. There are no scissors in the room. The lady says, "He did it." I worked at a hospital during transport for a couple of years. The transport home base was in the basement of the hospital, where all the laundry is done and supplies are also sorted there. I hated working late nights after this incident. On this night, I was the only one in the basement when I heard whistling at the end of the hallway by the elevator. I poked my head around the corner, expecting to see my only co-worker on duty that night, but there was absolutely no one there. I shrugged it off. I'm not easily spooked. Nights are slow, so I ate some snacks and hung out in the break room for a bit. Next thing I know, I heard a loud bang. I walked into the hallway and a bat is rolling down the hall, bumping into the sides. At this point, I think that my coworker is just bullshitting me. I radio him and he says he's upstairs in the cafeteria. I think I'll catch him in the act. I walk past the laundry room and the machines start. I started to get a little nervous. I walked into the laundry room and the machines completely stop. I got freeze, then run out and head towards the elevator when I hear whistling again. At this point, I know I'm the only co-worker in the basement, as I am standing there waiting for the elevator. Things start falling off the shelves down the hall. Boxes of gloves, tissues, packages of tubes. I'm literally standing there watching them fall off one by one at the opposite end of the hallway. I got freeze. My entire body broke out in goosebumps. My hair stood on end, and I had this strong gut feeling I was being watched. I was not alone. As I'm getting into the elevator, I feel what feels like someone brushing my arm. Went upstairs and found my coworker in the cafeteria. Freaked out to him. I got the fuck out of there and transferred soon after that. The creepy thing to add to it is that I usually whistle mindlessly to myself at work. It was almost as if the spirit was mimicking me.